When you think of Josh Johnson, you may think of, well, what do you think of? Are you familiar with the name? Do you know who he is? If not, you should be, because for a couple of years, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball, and then seemingly out of nowhere, he was completely out of the league. So let's talk about it. In 1984, Josh Johnson was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He eventually relocated to Oklahoma, playing his baseball at Jenks High School. He was a standout, winning 2 state championships and Tulsa World All-Metro Player of the Year, eventually signing a letter of intent to play at the University of Oklahoma. But he quickly changed his mind when he was drafted in the 4th round of the 2002 MLB Amateur Draft by the Florida Marlins. In his first few years of minor league ball, he had up and down numbers, but he eventually advanced to AA in 2005 and he shined. He was named the Marlins Minor League Pitcher of the Year with a 12-4 record and a 3.87 ERA. His major league debut came on September 10, 2005 in a scoreless relief appearance against the Philadelphia Phillies, and his true coming out party came the following year in 2006, where he went 11-5 with a 3.05 ERA as a starter and 12-7 with a 3.10 ERA as both starter and reliever. He would go on to finish 4th in NL Rookie of the Year, losing out to his teammate and fellow member of the Rise and Fall Club, Hanley Ramirez. After breaking out in 2006, his 2007 season was unfortunately hampered by injuries, and he eventually had Tommy John surgery, pitching in only 4 games and 15 2/3 innings total. He returned to the mound in July of 2008, just 11 months after his Tommy John surgery, where he would go on to start 14 games that season, posting a 7-1 record and a 3.61 ERA. Heading into 2009, his age 25 season, fully healthy, it was time for Josh to take the next step. And he did just that. By the All-Star break, Johnson had an 8-2 record with a 2.74 ERA and was selected to his first All-Star game of his career. By the season's end, Johnson pitched in 33 games, 209 innings, posting a 15-5 record with a 3.23 ERA and 191 strikeouts. It was now clear he was the ace of the Marlins staff and one of the best young pitchers in baseball, which in turn earned him a 4-year, $39 million contract in January of that offseason. Heading into 2010, expectations were high for Florida. They had just won 87 games in 2009 and looked like a real team on the rise with young players like Josh Johnson, Hanley Ramirez, Dan Uggla, and young rookie prospect, formerly Mike, now known as Giancarlo Stanton. But unfortunately in 2010, the team got off to a really rough start. They were 4 games under 500 at the All-Star break, and the playoff chances were looking slim. But Johnson was pitching at an elite level. Selected to his 2nd straight All-Star game, Johnson had a 9-3 record with a 1.70 ERA at the break, which was the best in the majors. Although selected to his 2nd straight All-Star appearance, this would be the first time he actually played in the game, and man did he make an impact around the majors. He pitched 2 perfect innings, including striking out Ichiro and Derek Jeter, but his dominance would continue far beyond the break. Throughout the season, he had a 12-game stretch where he gave up 3 runs or less in each start. By July 28th, he had started 21 games and only allowed more than 3 runs once, giving up only 1 run 8 times and no earned runs 6 times. But the Marlins as a team finished the season 2 games under 500, missing the postseason yet again, but Johnson was an incredible bright spot. He finished 11-6 with a 2.30 ERA, which was 2nd in the majors behind Felix Hernandez. In 28 starts, Johnson finished 5th in NL Cy Young Award voting and 25th in National League MVP voting. Entering his absolute prime at age 26, Johnson was on the cusp of league domination. He began by taking a no-hitter into the 7th versus the Mets, then another no-hitter into the 8th versus the Braves, and through 9 games in 2011, he had pitched 60 innings with 56 strikeouts and a 1.64 ERA. He also took a no-hitter into at least the 5th inning in 4 of his first 5 starts. But then, his season ended because of inflammation in his right shoulder. One can only imagine what his final season stat line could have looked like if he pitched all year. But he worked his way back to be named the opening day starter for the 3rd straight year in 2012. Although Johnson was able to pitch the entire year, he was far from his previous dominant self. Now playing in Miami, the 2012 Marlins won only 69 games in its first year, and Johnson wasn't his elite self. He finished with an 8-14 record with a 3.81 ERA in 31 starts. A solid season for most, but well below the expectations Josh had set over the previous couple years. And now in 2013, entering his age 29 season, Johnson was the key piece to the Jose Reyes trade that saw him heading from Miami to Toronto. On paper, Johnson was slated to be the fourth man in the rotation, but there was optimism that he could get back to his ace-like ways. But unfortunately, Johnson dealt with a triceps injury early in the season and was a complete shell of himself on the mound. He managed to only start 16 games, posting a rough 2-8 record with a 6.20 ERA, eventually undergoing surgery to remove bone spurs from his elbow in October of that year. In 2014, Johnson signed with the San Diego Padres on a one-year deal, but the injury woes would continue. He began the season on the IL for forearm and elbow tightness, but in April it was announced he would go under the knife again for his second Tommy John surgery, missing the entire season. In 2015, he re-signed again with the San Diego Padres, but in a simulated game in April, attempting to make a comeback, he experienced more tricep tightness and a nerve issue in his neck. He rested until August, attempting to throw another simulated game, but once again, it was announced that he would undergo a third Tommy John surgery, missing all of 2016. Johnson signed a major league deal with the San Francisco Giants in the 2016 offseason, but announced his retirement in January of 2017. And just like that, it was over. All the hype, dominant pitching, and what could be scenarios were over. Due really to no fault of his own, this fall was simply just the case of an awful injury bug that tarnished a potentially stellar career. Though his dominance for those few short years deserved to be remembered. From 2009 to 2011, Josh Johnson was 29-12 with a 2.64 ERA, 1.11 WHIP in 70 starts and 453 innings pitched, including 2 All-Star games and a top 5 NL Cy Young Award finish. So what if Johnson stayed healthy? What if his prime lasted past his age 29 season? What if there was peace throughout the world? These are questions we may never know, but can always have fun debating. So when you think of Josh Johnson, think of a pitcher who, when healthy, was one of the best in the game. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.